Meditation, contemplation, silence, the present, towards Zen. When? Why? What for? How? Entering into silence and the present. When? Always, until piercing time and space. Why? Because it's essential in life to get out of madness. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're here at the monastery of La Salceda, a key location, because not only was Cardinal Cisneros here, but also the person whom I now want to talk about, Francisco of Osuna, a mystic of the early 16th century who wrote the book The Third Alphabet, and in it he's continuously talking about the maxim of what Zen would be, or what meditation would be, which is to quieten the mind, to stop the mind, so that one day we reach the point where the light occupies the last corners of our memory, our understanding and our will. It was the bedside book of Saint Teresa of Jesus. It was also the cornerstone for Saint John of the Cross. This cushion that represents something that is not at all far from them, although it is far in time, is a zafu, with which I began to practice Zen 47 years ago. It's a cushion, but it's also a wheel towards infinity. Awareness opens the way to intuition. If we're heading towards the absolute truth, the path leads us to descend, to openness, alertness, and to passive awareness. The descent of illumination, the descent of grace, will not be given to you by any master, nor by any mechanical meditative practices. It doesn't even go through your will, because it's based on the great mystery, and goes beyond the Zen postcard. Therefore, it's essential to be awake, to witness the present, the non-mind, moment by moment, without losing your roots to access the other shore. The Buddha himself already warned, one cannot find the cause of everything, and it's very dangerous to simplify the meditative practice to a chain of causes and effects if one contemplates the absolute truth. We are here in the field of silence, emptiness, the field of meditation, of contemplation, towards Zen. The essence of meditation contemplation, following venerable masters like Huineng, Thich Nhat Hanh, Krishnamurti, Saint John of the Cross, Juan Ashaninka, Don Patricio Mazateco, who also did his particular meditation, we see that meditation contemplation has as its end the attainment of enlightenment. But this in itself is a contradiction, because how can that which is beyond cause and effect be attained? How can it be a question of attaining or not attaining? Meditation doesn't imply being condemned to sit, nor to stand, nor to be in a monastery, nor to be in the street. The fact of enlightenment is beyond time, space and matter, beyond form and concept. Enlightenment, the descent of grace as it is spoken of in mysticism, is inconceivable, and when it comes, but it is necessary to carve the way. The eternal present and silence. The deep meditative, contemplative act leads to profound states of comprehension of the infinite consciousness. It allows us to free ourselves from the conditioned existence of us humans, but it's non-transferable. It's the realization of the eternal and indestructible potential that dwells in every human being. It's the innate wisdom and the gift of life. Live it. With so much expansion of mindfulness and meditation, less of emptiness and silence, we must understand that what is real is simple. However, what is accessory is complicated. The keys are very few. Access is difficult. There is no need to wear a flashy robe or to carry a candle on your head. The essence of meditation goes beyond the Zen postcard and a comfortable crystal urn. Universal consciousness is actually formless. Despite the tragedies of humanity, this teaching of silence and emptiness is at the spiritual core of religions and ancient practices. The tough path of the Bodhisattva, the difficult path of the saint, for example, the malade imaginaire of Vilamakirti, whereas already in the times of the Buddha he said that there was no need to enter into a monastic world, and that the world of arriving, the world of reaching silence, is out of all logic. It enters into the limitless and the cosmic. Mindfulness, let's put it this way, does not aim to be another element of consumption nor to be productive. Its goal is enlightenment. But what is enlightenment? Is attaining it a myth? Or is it really about attaining plenitude, the real, the unfathomable, the unspeakable? That is a question. Emptiness is embodied, but to remain in the empty mind, to restrict meditative practice to a seated position all the time, is not helpful. Immobility, like that of inert objects, is not Zen. Neither are fanatical positions. Being attached to rituals that have been created for the historical occasion and to intellectual speculations blinds one to the path. These stones here, surrounded by this peace, are witnesses to the great genius Francisco de Osuna, and of the keys he gave us to reach the deep abyss of meditation. Inner silence is a fact. It's your teacher, in which your path is your path. It's not a concept. There are 4 phases. The first is receptive awareness, to reach the second phase, which is emptiness. The third is to be aware of interferences that prevent us from entering emptiness. And the fourth phase is to be very clear that all this descent into silence goes beyond a mental stop. What is beyond this mental stop? Check it out. You need the element of the present, eternity in the here and now. There is no explanation possible. There is no food for the intellect that is actually driving us crazy. One lives or doesn't live. Stillness and silence. And that's where the conscious energy opens up. But also the pain, also the darkness. Reality shows us the dual mind with all its destructive polarity. The ego, you against the other, what isn't me is what has to be exploited in the service of that ego. And there we have the consequences, ecological degradation and disease. The lotus emerges from the mud. Honesty is essential and is forged in being calm in the face of personal unworldly shadows, until the depth of the contemplative act perforates the wall and the word. At a personal level, what emerges? Our memory, the shadow of our memory. This is key. Fractals, complex patterns of behavior, traumas, family and genealogical programming, what I call our backpack, the hard drive of the past, but it's in the present, and not really taken into account so much by the mindfulness fashion. We must resolve and dissolve that shadow if we want to get somewhere. We can prepare ourselves. First, emptying the shadow of memory. St. John of the Cross says that we must kill the memory. Enomia Lasalle reminds us, and also Francisco de Osuna here says that the light has to reach the last corner of our memory. So it's a fundamental first step. From there, the receptive consciousness, the sensation consciousness, the friendly body emerges. realization, awareness, meditation, silence, emptiness, mindfulness must come to life in everyday life. The observer, the observation as a bridge, and the observed. Interestingly, the fusion between the observer and the observed, a key point in the meditation process, turns out to be a mystery. It gives you 100% access to witnessing the receptive silence and the unfathomable. But that also happens in traditional indigenous medicines, what is known as shamanism, where an arrow of unity, of unification, is generated between the body, the consciousness, and the cosmos. Accessing the sanctuary of silence, the instantaneous descent, opens the door out of hell and shows the samadhi. Reached intuitively, an inner peace makes fear disappear forever. Thus, Mara will be transformed into a real Buddha. The great silence opens the door of life and allows the descent of the light energy that pushes matter, unfolding the great mystery, the longing of humanity to open the door of death. From this imperfect throne, from these marvelous and forgotten ruins, where Francisco de Osuna actually wrote the keys to what today is known as the process of meditation, mindfulness, etc., the question of beyond silence and emptiness remains. What is there? Few teachers speak of being overwhelmed by the source and by the infinite light. You don't get there by theories, you don't get there by concepts, and you won't get there with this video. Meditating 1 hour a day is like going to the gas station, but it's not enough. You have to put yourself in the necessary disposition 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. That's not easy, but it is what it is. It's up to you to pave the way. The awakening. The awakening from sleep, actually, to access plentifulness. In a millisecond, a dizzying turn towards plenitude changes your existential course forever, if you don't get lost. The source, the origin, illuminates all paths, what has been traveled, what is in transit, and what is to be traveled. In the here and now, in the stillness of consciousness, and in the summit of the present. There is only the present. And here, in the midst of the sound of wood pigeons and turtle doves, one also finds oneself between silence and emptiness. Meditation, or mindfulness, speaking in words that people can easily understand, cannot be confused with a consumer shortcut. We have to achieve serenity and service in this world that is falling apart. But remember, the deepest darkness is a prelude to the coming dawn. And remember, your way is your way. Beyond mind, body, brain, and cell is the radical evolution of a new era, and in that non-duality, your path is your path.